Hey guys, what's up and welcome to this evening's live. So in tonight's video, we're going to be talking about my 3 top tips to help you burn fat when you feel like you have no time. Now, I bring this particular factor up because it's a big area of resistance for people. Like, it's a common complaint or obstruction or problem that people face. And it's this belief that they have no time. Now, of course, if we want to break it all down and get into it, that's not necessarily the case. But regardless of whether it is or not, when you feel like you have no time, it's very difficult to now start trying to do new things and add them into your already busy, hectic schedule when, one, you've got this idea that you have no time, but there's so many other things that you're already doing. Like your energy is already preoccupied, your mind is preoccupied, your money, your resources, everything is kind of taken up and being used on all these other things. And then obviously you've got this idea now, actually, I want to get in shape. I want to burn fat. I want to get my body back to where it should be and so on. The problem is I have no time. I just don't have the time to do it because I've got all these other factors going on. Now, there are lots of things that we can do regardless of having no time or having very limited time. It's just about being more strategic with how we apply ourselves to trying to achieve our goals. So I'm going to break down 3 of my sort of favorite go-to tips that you can use. It will still require some effort and even still you going and taking some time for yourself, but it's going to be very limited relative to what it might have been had you decided, right, I'm going to go into this full on and I'm going to do a full program and full nutritional overhaul and all the rest of it. So the first thing that we need to discuss is, of course, nutrition. Now, for many of us, we get kind of caught in this place of being out of shape, overweight, and all the rest of it because we've been opting for convenience. So what we ideally need to do so that we're not so that we don't find it too stressful or too overwhelming is try to make the healthier options or the healthier food prep and consumption just as convenient or as close to being as convenient as our current eating habits as we can. Now, one of the best ways to do that currently is through the use of meal prep services. I'm sure you've seen them all over the internet yourself, things like HelloFresh and Mindful Chef and so on. There's lots of different ones out there. And are they the absolute best? Not necessarily. You know, in an ideal world, we would all go and buy our own food from a local farmer who we know farms organically or biodynamically and so on. And we would prep all our own food and cook slow and blah-de-blah. But the catch is most of us don't have time for that. And most of us don't necessarily want to live that particular lifestyle, at least not at this stage. We just want a simple, easy solution that's going to help us actually start to like ourselves again, like our body, enjoy the vessel that we're stuck in all day, and obviously start enjoying life more. So one of the best ways we can do that with food is through the use of these other services. Now, they don't cook the food for you, many of them. They obviously pre-prep and pre-portion everything, and then you still have to cook it yourself. The advantage with many of them is that they will have anything from like 10-minute meals up to meals that maybe take 30 to 40 minutes if there's a longer cook time or a longer prep time and so on. But if you are really stuck for time and you're just like, you know, I have no time to do this myself and I don't have any desire to do this myself, as in the food prep and the shopping and all the rest of it, then using one of these services is a great way to get started. As I say, that might be something you want to move away from in the future, but to get you going and get the ball rolling, help you start getting results, often it's a great way. So there, as I say, there's the likes of HelloFresh, Mindful Chef. I think another one is called Lions Prep or something. I believe those ones are actually pre-made meals and you literally just have to heat them up, but they're made with better quality foods than your sort of average, what would you call it? Microwave meal and stuff that you would get in the supermarkets and so on. So there's lots of options out there. It's just finding the one that works for you. And the advantage with most of them is they will actually give you massive discounts when you first sign up or trial their service. So you can try them out pretty cheap, find out if you like it, if you like their foods, or if you like the service and you want to go down that kind of route. So you can experience them without kind of having to go all in or spending or potentially wasting too much money if you find it's a service that you don't want to make use of in the future. So that's our first one, trying to make our meal prep and healthy eating and stuff a lot easier, more simple, more convenient for us so that we don't get overwhelmed by it. Now, the next one is with our workouts. So we're still going to have to train or put some effort in to do some kind of movement and so on. But because we're trying to maximize the result that we get from the effort that we put in, we want short, sharp workouts. Now, I have spoken about these before, but what we're talking about is high levels of intensity for short periods of time. Now, people will say, oh, well, what about, long, steady duration cardio, going for a run, going for a bike ride, and so on. You can do all that kind of stuff. But right now, obviously, we're talking about saving time. So if we want to save time, what we want is short periods of high intensity, because it's going to stimulate the body to the highest potential. And therefore, the body will be forced to have to try and adapt to that. Now, I say have to try and adapt to that because we still have to provide the right nutrition and the right recovery protocols to ensure the body can fully adapt. But by having that higher level of stimulus, the body goes, holy shit, that was fucking hard. I don't want to experience anything that bad again. So it will try to get stronger, fitter, leaner, and so on as a result of that. So things like high intensity interval training. Obviously, if any of you guys ever join my programs, I have a 12 at 12 protocol, which is literally a 12-minute workout that's ideally done at 12 o'clock lunchtime each day. So we can get real good results from real short but pretty intense workouts, providing they're focused correctly and they focus on the right movements. So we've got meal prep is one way, or using meal prep services, and then short, sharp workouts, high intensity work or high resistance work for short periods of time, but at a high intensity, so that we create a large or great stimulus to the body, to our physiology, so that it is forced to try and adapt and improve as a result of that short, sharp effort that we put in. That saves us having to do sort of 40 to 90 minute long, steady duration workouts, which of course will get fat loss results as well, but it's nowhere near the most efficient, nor necessarily the best way to get the actual aesthetic that you're looking for. Yes, it will help you burn fat, but it won't necessarily build the body and the physique that you're actually after. So those are the first two. The third one that we want to look at is hydration. Now, many of us are chronically dehydrated in the same way that many of us are chronically malnourished because we eat predominantly junk food rather than healthy whole foods and so on. But hydration is a big one. And what we have to remember is that fat can only be burned in the presence of oxygen. But the way our body transports oxygen, the way our body transports oxygen around the system is, of course, in our blood. And the more hydrated we are, the easier it is for our body to carry out that process and obviously to transport this oxygen around. So we want to make sure that hydration is optimal, and we want to make sure that ideally it's optimal daily. That way we're going to get the maximum output from our workouts as well, because anytime hydration is low, we find that cardio capacity and so on is reduced. And it's going to be harder for you to hit those peaks in those intense workouts if you are chronically dehydrated. Plus, it's going to be harder for your body to make use of the nutrition that you're bringing in and so on. So we want to make sure that overall we are well hydrated. Now, again, I've spoken about this in previous videos, but the recommendation that we begin with most people is the recommendation from the book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water by Dr. Batman Gilic. And the recommendation is half your body weight in ounces of water a day. So if you are 150 pounds, you would drink 75 ounces of water a day. And that would give you your body's approximate ideal consumption. Of course, if you train a lot and frequently, you might need a little bit more. If you live in a hot climate, you might need a little bit more and so on. So we get to be slightly dynamic with it, depending on our lifestyle choices and our location and so on. But overall, that half your body weight in ounces of water a day tends to be a very, very good place to begin. So that's the third thing that you will want to make sure that you get right. Now, as a bonus, another way that we can actually help our body get these good fat loss results in a short period of time is by making sure that we're getting adequate sleep and recovery. Now, of course, time and stuff may be a factor. It's like I just don't have the time to increase my sleep time. So what we then try to do is improve the quality. Now, I know I said 3 tips, but I'm actually going to give you a 4th. So that's why we've gotten into this, recovery protocol. So what we would do, if it's a case of, at the minute I'm maybe getting sort of 6.5 hours. I know, Ty, you've said 7 to 9 is the optimal for most people. But what we can do is improve the quality. If we can't improve the duration, we focus on the quality. Now, that could come in the form of things like blackout blinds. It might be that you need to make your bedroom much cooler, because for most people, they actually sleep better and get a higher quality of sleep if the room is cool, say around 18 degrees or below. For most people, 16 to 18 tends to work pretty well. And then we also want it to be as quiet as possible. Now, yes, some people do actually sleep very well with white noise in the background, but on average, most people need it to be as dark as possible, as clean as possible, and also as quiet as possible in order to get the optimal sleep environment that enables them to get good deep sleep, so that they can go through all of the different phases of the sleep cycle and get deep restorative sleep and so on. So if we can't focus on duration, we focus on quality. And as I say, make it as dark as you possibly can. So black out your windows where possible. Blackout blinds and things like that are great. Now, if you can't afford or you don't have access to blackout blinds, and if you can't make it as quiet as possible, one of the ways we can kind of cheat the system a little bit is to wear an eye mask. Now, this isn't the perfect solution, but it helps, because obviously our perception of the room being darker is increased because we're wearing an eye mask that blocks out all light, or at least all light perception in terms of visually. And then the other thing is earplugs. You can put earplugs in. Firstly, they're a great way to stop you having to listen to your partner snore if you have a snoring partner. And secondly, again, it just deadens the sound in the room, and for most people enables them to get a much deeper sleep. Just bear in mind, if you use an alarm, you may struggle to hear it more if it's set fairly low. So you may need to turn the alarm up a little bit to ensure that you hear it if you are wearing earplugs. So those are the tips I'll leave you guys with today. So the three main ones were: make use of a meal prep service if you need to, something like HelloFresh or Mindful Chef and so on. From my sort of observation and from my client's experience, Mindful Chef tends to be better quality food than HelloFresh, for example. So do have a look at where they source their food and which ones you prefer and so on as you're making those decisions. The next one is short, sharp workouts, things like high intensity interval training, short conditioning workouts, kettlebell workouts, things like that, things that can be done pretty short but at high intensity in order to create large amounts of stimulus to our physiology. And then the other thing was hydration. So the third one was hydration. Make sure you have an optimal water intake. And then the bonus tip was make sure that your sleep environment is optimal for deep and restorative sleep. So we want it as dark as possible, as quiet as possible, and as clean as possible. Now, for the clean thing, I do mean general cleanliness, but I also mean air quality. So for some people, what they like to do is put plants in the room, certain plants that are known for clearing the air and for purifying the air. They will often help people get much deeper, better quality sleep as well. So to save going on and making this a 30-minute video, I will let you guys go now. Of course, if you have any questions or you want me to dig in this any deeper, as always, as I say, let me know in the comments below. Or if you want to learn more about what it is we do here, check us out at strongerthanlife.com. And I'm sure you'll be able to find something that can help you on there in our free resources section. Thanks for watching, people, and I look forward to chatting with you all in my next video. Take it easy.